You should know how to defend yourself. There's this interesting mentality that kind of gets thrown around nowadays where people tend to believe that you don't need to know these things, that you don't need to know how to defend yourself. And that's largely because we live such charmed lives that a lot of us haven't had to ever defend ourselves. A lot of people have never been in a physical fight their entire lives. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take the time to acquire this knowledge. That would be like saying if you live in a place that rarely ever rains, then you shouldn't own an umbrella. But what about the few days where it does rain and now you're caught out there and you get completely soaked because you didn't have an umbrella for the situation? Now, obviously in the case of self-defense, the stakes are a lot higher than just getting wet. And that is the exact reason why I think everyone should take the time to learn how to defend themselves. Because it's not even a situation of you're better off knowing than not needing it and ending up in that situation versus not knowing how to defend yourself and needing to. It's not even any of that, because the stakes are so incredibly high, your life could be at stake. I think everyone should know how to defend themselves. See, here's the thing. Nowadays, we like to kind of either ignore willfully, I don't know, or just straight up not know that there are still evil people out there. I know that sounds like cartoony, but seriously, there are evil people out there. People who are literally born sometimes with brain defects or mutations that literally make them have no empathy for others. And when you have a human who has no empathy, they're going to be incredibly selfish and self-centered, because that's what we humans tend to be by default. I mean, that's how we survive, right? You look out for number one, first and foremost, and that's how you survive. Well, when someone has no empathy on top of that, they aren't going to care about how their actions affect other people. And that can make them very dangerous, because they won't even care if they physically harm others. And these people are out there. And there's probably more of them now than there ever before, just because the population is as large as it is, the world population. So be careful. You're far better off knowing how to defend yourself than not. Just in case you ever encounter one of these people. They're rare, yes. But if you ever encounter one, it could be bad. So I don't want to get into extreme examples, but I mean, you can all immediately think of the kind of person I'm talking about, right? There's a very common example that gets brought up all the time. There's even a term for that example in arguments because it's brought up so much. So there you go. There are examples of evil people. I don't care if you believe that most people are good at heart. Well, actually, that's not what I meant to say. There are some people who believe everyone is good at heart. I disagree with that. I don't believe that for a second because of what I just said. There are literally people with mutations in their brain. They don't have the capacity to be good because their brain is wired differently than everyone else. They can't possibly be good. They're not wired like you and I. I know that can be harsh to hear, but it's the truth. So the good thing is the vast majority of people are actually good, and that's why the world isn't this super chaotic place. But there are still very bad people out there. So don't fool yourself or delude yourself into believing they don't exist, because they do. And you can be a good person and still acknowledge there are evil and bad people out there. I mean, hell, I'm telling you this right now, and I imagine a lot of you would probably wager that I'm a good person. So I'm here telling you, evil and bad people exist. Does that detract from my goodness at all? I hope not. But anyway, that's just getting over all the moral arguments people will have against learning self-defense just because they like to believe that everybody is good at heart, but it's just not true. That's naive. But anyway, so I'm not really going to get into techniques for how to defend yourself. I mean, I can say a few pointers. First and foremost is just your best route of self-defense is usually to disable the other person in some method and then running away. Like, I know that sounds cowardly, but if your life is at risk, you should run away and live another day. Don't try to be macho, especially if they are armed with a weapon. That's even more so you'd want to run away, because there are very few winners in knife fights. In fact, yeah, getting stabbed would not be fun at all. And if they have a firearm, And then, yeah, just get the hell out of there. Your best bet is usually to run away in a zigzag manner and hope that they're a bad shot, and hope that they have a handgun, because handguns are generally hard to aim. If they have a rifle, it's not good. But anyway, my whole point here, I'm getting like too into the specifics. Usually you just want to disable them and flee as quickly as possible. So figure out ways to disable them. Go after somebody's eyes if they're trying to hold you, especially for all the women out there. If a guy ever tries to like grab you and hold you, poke out his eyes. I mean, I know that sounds gross, but seriously, if your life is on the line, do it. That's one of the biggest weak spots we as human beings have. So poke out his eyes. He'll probably immediately go into self-preservation mode, which means letting go of you and covering his eyes. That gives you an opportunity to run away. Or go for his groin, although that's a bit trickier because if a guy has adrenaline coursing through his veins, it may not be enough to actually make him double over. So that's not usually the best route, but it's an opportunity if you can't get to his eyes. Or take out his knees. A good opportunity, or a good technique there, is to try to kick them from the side with with the like heel of your foot. I can't really show you, but yeah, so you basically use your heel to kick the side of their knee, and that'll make their knee buckle. And if you do it hard enough, you could even seriously hurt them. And if they can't chase after you, you can run away, right? They're not going to be able to go after you, so you're good. But in general, that's just what you want to do for the most part, especially for all the ladies, because men really do have a huge difference in upper body strength compared to the average woman. Even if a woman is like a bodybuilder, she could still not be as strong as like an average male, because it's a huge disparity. We're built kind of like how lions are. With lions, the males are way bigger than the females, and they're way stronger too. Humans are pretty similar. For the most part, men are bigger and stronger than women. So ladies, if you ever do encounter a man who is a bad person, please just find a way to either run away if you can immediately, or use pepper spray. That's a great option. Just find some way to disable them. Go for the eyes and then escape. Don't try to fight a guy hand to hand. It's not going to end well. He'll likely be able to overpower you in no time flat. So just get away from the situation. That's the best thing to do. But anyway, for all the guys out there, yet again, I don't really have techniques for you. I mean, I know some things, it's just, I want to save that more for the professionals. So I would say look out for YouTube videos on self-defense, look for knife training, firearm training, hand-to-hand combat training, or take courses. Go do kickboxing. That's a great way of self-defense because it shows you how to weaponize your entire body, your legs and your arms and fists. So that's a good one. Or take boxing if need be, or jiu-jitsu, although that's a bit trickier because taking things to the ground in a street fight, I don't know if that's the best route to go, especially if you're outnumbered. But yeah, anyway, there are options out there. And of course, I don't want to trigger anyone here, but if you're triggered by this, I mean, come on. But anyway, sorry, it's just I don't get why this is a controversial topic, but it is. But firearm training is a great route to take because that's pretty much the best way of defending yourself in life or death situations. I mean, it really is. When you get down, if someone's trying to kill you, firearm is the likely thing that you would want in that situation because it gives you such a huge advantage. So I would say everyone should be trained in that. Even if you're afraid of guns, a lot of people who I've talked to who are anti-gun are usually afraid of them because they've never used them. They've never even held one before. So that fear makes them not like them. It's kind of like a fear of the unknown because you've never used one. And I get that. But they're just such a great way of defending yourself that I would say never ignore that option because it's just such a powerful one. So if you can, take the time to learn how to use firearms. That's one of the best ways to protect yourself and the people you care about. But also, maybe even look into knife combat. But that's a very tricky one as well. But getting into it all, it's just, my point here is that everyone should be able to defend themselves. If you're harmless, that is not good for you, and it's not good for people you care about either, because it makes you a liability and it makes you an easy target. You do not want to be weak. I know that for the most part, the world isn't exactly a dangerous place. I don't even know if I can say that. I hope I can say that, but that's tricky. I mean, for the most part, right? We don't go outside and immediately have to defend ourselves. But just make sure, if you ever need to, that you have the skill set needed to do so, especially if it involves people you care about. It's just so important. We can't act like the world is just this place that is always good and there's no bad people and we'll never have to defend ourselves ever in our life, because we just don't know if that's true. So it's better to have the skills needed than to not have them at all. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And if so, the easiest way you can support me is just to like, comment, and share the video. Let me know your thoughts down below, although don't make it political. That wasn't my intention here. So just none of that crap. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!